We have a South Harrisburg paving project, which involves a number of streets in the city of Harrisburg, expected to start off this spring and go through fall of 2019. One of the streets is Berry Hill Street, from Cameron to 13th Street. It's being resurfaced, new ADA ramps, some sidewalk improvements near the ADA ramps. Back in 2014, we received a petition signed by 159 residents of the area, raising concerns over excessive speeds, high volumes of traffic, parked cars being hit along this corridor, Berry Hill Street corridor. So we started looking at ways to improve it, and there was a traffic study done by PennDOT through the LTAP program. And one of the recommendations in that program was to basically look at the high volumes of traffic on Berry Hill. Berry Hill gets significant volumes of traffic, so much so that it falls into what we call a collector category classification instead of a neighborhood street that it was originally designed for. So if we're going to, keep those high volumes of traffic, we would want to eliminate off-street parking, at least on one side, give wider lanes and reduce some of the incidents of parked cars being hit and everything else. The other option is to treat it like a neighborhood street, like it was originally designed, and try to figure out a way to reduce the high volumes of traffic that are traveling on Berry Hill Street on a day-to-day basis, particularly in the PM when there's a lot of student and youth activity coming up and down the corridor because of the vicinity of the two schools and also the Boys and Girls Club. So that was sort of our recommendation, was let's take a closer look at these high volumes of traffic and see what's going on. And it became apparent that we're getting a lot of commuter traffic cutting through the neighborhood. Instead of staying on Cameron and making a left at Paxton, they're making a left on Berry Hill to 13th to 83. So that's obviously a problem. They should stay on those arterial roads and you can get on 83 that way instead of cutting through a neighborhood. So what we did was we put together a concept here for a right-in, right-out. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the right-in, right-out. A lot of parking lots and things function that way, and it'll reduce the number of collisions obviously at the intersection, but also reduce the number of cut-through traffic, drive those traffic volumes down, and hopefully make it a safer place for pedestrians crossing the street at the crosswalks in order to visit the Boys and Girls Club or go to a house or something like that. It will inconvenience some residents in the area for sure. This will primarily benefit in the PM traffic as far as the cut-through traffic, but on a random Sunday afternoon when there's not a lot of high volumes of traffic, you still got to make that right and go around the neighborhood, whereas currently you can make a left-hand turn. So we want to hear from the residents of the neighborhood. Are they willing to sacrifice that inconvenience for what we think will be large safety improvement for pedestrians, particularly the most vulnerable, our youth? Then let's put it in. If that inconvenience is too much of an inconvenience and the residents are opposed to this concept, we'd love to hear from them because we don't want to, we won't put it in, and we'll look at other ways maybe to deal with the high volumes of traffic and the collisions and things like that. And we have our consultant here who's doing the design and the permitting through PennDOT, because Cameron Street's a PennDOT road, so this change will require PennDOT approval. So I'm here, he's here, Joyce Davis is here. We're here to answer questions of the residents and try to come up with whether or not this is a good solution that the neighborhood wants to see, and just have that open dialogue, that open discussion, and we're here to learn as much as the residents are. We intend to advertise here hopefully by the end of February, early March, with bids, opening bids here early spring, and start construction, say June, early June timeframe. That would, this is a larger project with, it adds some 13th Street paving, Brookwood, Sycamore, Birchfield. There's a number of streets in this paving project and a number of ADA ramps, which can be real time-consuming, tedious work. So we're going to put it out for a 2-year construction window, which would have the final, the total project being completed in the fall of 2019. Whether or not this this gets first, this is installed this year, that's something we want to work with the contractor on actual scheduling. So don't want to make any promises that this will go in this year. It could be 2019 work.